26th, 5 to Canton Parks and Rec from Kimball Recycling and Disposal. News Talk 1480 and Mix 94.1.
Live from the WHBC Broadcast Center. Find out more about area businesses, agencies, and events.
It's what's going on right now.
This is Spotlight.
Well, good morning and welcome to Spotlight on this beautiful Wednesday morning, everyone. I'm Pam Cook with you. And if you know me, if you have listened to me for all of these years, you know that I am a person who absolutely adores wine, and Gervasi is one of my favorites. And so this makes me very happy and very excited to talk about Gervasi Vineyards today. And we have with us this morning David Smith, who is the head winemaker, just the perfect person for me to have visiting with us this morning. Good morning, David. How are you? I think you might be muted. Right now.
Yes, I was.
There you go. There we go. That's all right. That's okay. It happens to all of us. And I'll remind folks that you can also be watching us on our YouTube channel too. We love for folks to check us out as well on social media. So, well, first of all, before we get started talking about all the wonderful things about Gervasi, we've got to learn a little bit about you. What a job, head winemaker. That sounds like a great occupation to me, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, sure. I grew up in Dayton, Ohio. And then I went to college in northern Wisconsin, got a degree in biochemistry. And then to finish my degree, I went to a local winery and did a research project for them. And that's kind of what got my interest, my foot in the door in the wine industry, was just doing that research project with them. And I helped them a couple times on like bottling days. It was just for like that day. I would go in just for a few hours to help with bottling and do that occasionally. I thought that was pretty great. And then after I graduated, I started working there full time. And I was there for 5 years before I came to Gervasi. And I came to Gervasi December 2011. So yeah, almost 12 years ago now.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Talk a little bit about Ohio wines, because you know people always wonder what the difference is between where wines come from, but Ohio wines are special.
Oh, absolutely. So one of the main characteristics of Ohio wines is that we are in a cooler climate. So especially most people are going to recognize California wines, European wines, and then potentially in our neck of the woods also like Rieslings and some whites from the Finger Lakes in New York. And so I'd say we're a similar temperature range, similar climate to the Finger Lakes, but not quite the same, but much closer to that than California. California is typically dry, warm, and we're not. We are wet and cool in comparison, and we have a shorter growing season. So some of the grapes we grow are better suited for a shorter growing season. They start to grow in the spring later to avoid spring frosts, and then they are ready to harvest earlier in the fall. When you get up towards like the Geneva area near Lake Erie, and also towards Toledo and Sandusky, Lake Erie has a very moderating effect on the weather. And so we can grow some grapes up there that you can't grow in mid and southern Ohio. And so some very good examples are Pinot Grigio, Riesling, Chardonnay. Those all grow very well in northern Ohio and make some fantastic wines.
Wow. I didn't even really think about the different locations in the state of Ohio. So to add to all of that. So, I also want to talk about Gervasi's wines in general, because I'll just say I went to visit some family members in Columbus a couple of weekends ago, and my sister and I stopped at Gervasi on our way, and we walked in, and I'm grabbing this one and she's grabbing that one, and we're walking out with our arms full. And because when you walk in, there's just so many different varieties and different, everybody has a different taste. And so, talk about the wide range of varieties of wine that Gervasi has. How does that work?
So we have about 26 different labels that I make, and then I think we have about 7 or 8 Italian imports.
Okay.
So I'll start with the Italian imports because that's quick. We purchase them from wineries in Italy. So they're made in Italy, labeled there with a Gervasi private label on it, and imported just for us. And so we serve those. We serve those in our restaurants, and the reason we do that is because they're specialty wines that you only can make in Italy. We can't make them here, so that's why we import those. So like Franciacorta, which is it's like a champagne made in Italy. It's the best way to describe that. And then there's Lambrusco, sparkling Lambrusco, Prosecco, Chianti, Brunello. Those are Italian wines that you can only make in Italy.
Okay.
So we import those. The other 26 that we make here are a combination of grapes that we grow on property, as well as fruit that we purchase from other Ohio vineyards, as well as some that come from California vineyards. And so we have quite a range. Right now we're making about 25,000 gallons a year and spread over 26 varieties. For that volume, 26 is a lot. It's a lot of varieties to do.
It
And
is.
one of the reasons why we do that is because we have several restaurants on property, and we want to satisfy the restaurant customer that expects to have some good amount of variety on their wine list when they come for dinner or lunch. And so in order to provide that for our customers, we make a wide range of wines, everything from dry reds to an ice wine, which is very sweet.
And do you find that people are often asking you, well, what one is like this? Or, which one is like a Cabernet? Or does that happen frequently?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. and a lot of it comes down to, anytime you're trying to figure out what's going to taste good for you, because it's a personal preference. So imagine going to a fruit stand, and the vendor has 10 different fruits, and you've never tasted any of them before. So you have no idea what they're like. And so the first thing you tell them is, do you have anything that tastes like an orange? It's the same thing as, do you have anything that's like a Cab? Do you have anything that's like Chardonnay or like a Riesling? It's the exact same thing. So it's very common, and it's welcome as well, because that helps us out, guiding the customer to what they're really going to like. I mean, if you like a dry red tannic wine, I don't want to give you a Moscato, because you won't like it.
No, you won't. For sure.
Yeah.
And it tends to be what I have found about Gervasi is that, I may like a Cab, but there are several Gervasi wines that fit that I like. So it's not just one. Okay, this is the only Gervasi one that I will like because I like a Cab. There are several that fit, right? It seems like there's more options.
Oh, absolutely. And I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I think that's probably why it works out so well. I mean, and is there a difference between like the estate wines and then the classic wines, or when they're labeled that way?
Yes. So the estate wines, on our labels, we call it Family Reserve. And those wines are made from grapes that we grow on the property. So we have 5 acres here, and we grow Marquette, Frontenac Gris, and Aramella. Okay. And so those 3 varieties then make up Unita, which is the Marquette, Lascito is the Frontenac Gris, and Passione is the Aramella. Now we have a 4th one called Celebrazione, and that one's actually kind of a special wine, because we get the grapes from California rather than off of our estate, and we use Merlot, but I take them through a process called carbonic maceration. And it's not something you typically do for most grapes. Most grapes, red grapes, you would bring the fruit in, you destem it, so you remove the stems from the berries, you crush the berries, and you put all the berries, skin, seeds, pulp, all of that goes into a tank, and you ferment it all together. With the carbonic maceration, you can do it without removing the stems, but the way I do it is I remove the stems, but I don't crush the berries, so they stay intact and whole. And I'll fill some bins with those berries, flood it with carbon dioxide, and then let it just sit for about 5 days. And during that period, that carbon dioxide reacts with some enzymes inside the berries and produces new flavors, softens tannins, makes it bright and fresh. And then after that 5 days, then I'll start fermenting it just like any other red wine. And so that's the only wine that we do that process with. Makes it a little more unique, a little more interesting. And then we'll also blend in some of our Marquette into that wine so that we do have some estate fruit is mixed in with there too.
And the name of that one is what?
Celebrazione.
Okay, Celebrazione. I'm going to write that down.
That one is, it's a red, it's kind of like a purplish red label with, it kind of looks like the outline of a person splashing with it, but made out of like a wine splash.
I think I've seen the bottle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now we're sold out of that one. It's a seasonal one. When we produce it, I usually get it, get the fruit in October, and it's usually bottled by December, which is none of the other wines are bottled that fast. So that's another thing about the carbonic maceration. The idea is you get it in the bottle very quickly and start selling it for the holidays.
Okay, gotcha. All right, we're going to take our first break now. And when we come back, I want to talk more about the wines, but I also want to talk about the wine cave. And I also want to talk about what is sitting behind you, because I'm sure that folks who are watching on video are thinking, what does he have right behind him? Very interesting stuff. And again, we are talking Gervasi Vineyards and head winemaker David Smith with us this morning on Spotlight right here on 1480 WHBC.
It's great to be part of Stark County football.
It's going to be loud. It's going to be fun.
Appreciate all you guys do. You guys are great.
Our 79th season of high school football continues with the start of our playoff coverage. Our Altman Hospital radio game of the week, Lake at Perry, on 1480 WHBC and Mix 94.1, and our WHBCSports.com stream game of the week, Lorraine at Glen Oak.
They'll be ready to roll Friday night.
I'm Scott Garcia from Glen Oak High School.
This is Dan DeGeorge, head coach at Lake High School. There's only one place for high school football, WHBC.
Before you stop and consider scheduling service or maintenance for your electric backup generator, stop and consider the alternative. Cold, powerless, uncomfortable, disconnected. You see, when you put a Beck service and maintenance plan in place to keep your generator in tip-top shape and ready to run, there's really nothing stopping you.
The fastest way to fix is Beck Electric generators and plumbing.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Trick or treat. I got 2 boxes of pizza. One's a cheaper pizza, and the other is a Giannino's pizza.
Pizza is pizza. Oh, tastes like cardboard.
Well, go ahead and eat it. Now I'll take my treat. Giannino's pizza. Fresh dough, tomato sauce with no preservatives, fresh provolone cheese shredded daily. You want a piece of me?
For a location near you, go to Gianninos.com.
So you got a little trouble with your credit score? Well, here's a little tip so you won't anymore. Pick out your car, fill out a form. That's all you need to know, and off you'll go. Progressive Auto Group in Massillon. ProgressiveAutoGroup.com.
Do you have less than perfect credit? Get auto loan approval with our credit amnesty program at Progressive.
Progressive Auto Group in Massillon. ProgressiveAutoGroup.com. We understand how to cope with poor credit. When you are prepared to begin the process of buying a new or used vehicle, Progressive Auto Group is here to assist you. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Go to ProgressiveAutoGroup.com. Select your vehicle. Complete the credit amnesty application, and you'll receive a call to finalize the details. Find your credit amnesty at Progressive and get pre-qualified in less than 5 minutes. Progressive Auto Group in Massillon. ProgressiveAutoGroup.com. Get a fresh start today.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. The IRS just rolled out a new program to help struggling taxpayers more easily resolve their tax problems. It's called the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, and it opens up powerful new options for people looking to get back on the right track with the IRS. And no one knows this program like the professionals at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted resolution company. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients and have the expertise and experience to help you. One easy call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries of wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Make today the beginning of your fresh start with the IRS. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief now for your free confidential consultation.
Call 800-970-3199. That's 800-970-3199. 800-970-3199.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Cleveland area attorneys. 5005 Rockside Road, Suite 350, Independence, Ohio, 44131.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
And welcome back to Spotlight on News Talk 1480 WHBC. Pam Cook with you this morning. We're talking Gervasi Vineyard, and boy, we're having a wonderful discussion with David Smith, who is the head winemaker, and glad to have him along with us this morning to discuss all of the wonderful wines that Gervasi offers. And before we get started on talking about the cave, which we will get to, I want you, David, to tell us a little bit about what is behind you. What do we see? For folks who are not looking at you, they look like terracotta pots.
Yes. And that's exactly what they are. They're made of terracotta. This shape and style used for holding liquids we would call amphora or amphorae. And they're 132 gallons a piece, 500 liters. And they're used, they've been used actually for winemaking, any kind of olive oil, water, any liquid, you name it, for thousands of years. And so when we built the new cave, we were looking for something that was not only beautiful to the eye, but also functional for the winemaking process. And these fit the bill very nicely. They're beautiful. They're beautifully made in Italy. We imported them in here, and we're using them to house a fortified wine, so a port style of wine. And we're only filling one a year. And so the 22 vintage of this port style that we've never made before, by the way, we have a tawny port that we sell now, that we've been selling for a while. But this is a different style of port. This is closer to like a late bottle vintage style for any port aficionados out there. This is the style I'm going for. And so the idea is the 22 vintage port went into one last year. The 23 vintage is going to go into the second one this year. And then the 24 vintage is going to go into the third one. And then the 25 vintage, the 22 vintage is then going to come out so that the 25 vintage can go in. And so at that point, then that 22 vintage will have had 3 years in the amphora to age. And one of the cool things about the amphora is that they don't really impart much in the way of flavor like an oak barrel might, but they allow the wine to breathe. So a little bit of water and alcohol will evaporate over time out of the amphora, which concentrates everything else. The flavors, the color, the aromas all get concentrated over time. And it also lets a small amount of oxygen through, which helps with maturing the wine and building the flavor.
Now, the cave. Let's talk about that, because How long has the cave been in existence?
So the cave, I moved barrels into the cave beginning of March.
Okay.
And March of this year, March 23. And I believe the tasting room was also open beginning of March 2023. And then above me is our luxury spa, and that was opened in April of 23.
Okay.
And so this cave, the portion of the cave that I'm sitting in right now, is the barrel room portion of it. And actually, if I move the camera here a little bit, you can see our other barrels down there.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, very cool.
So so those are all like 60-gallon barrels. Most wineries you would visit, you would see barrels that size. And so those are the majority of our barrels. And then we have the amphora, and behind me are also some larger format called puncheons that are also 132 gallons, but they're made of wood. So they're just a big wooden barrel. So this portion of the cave was made specifically for housing our barrels. So it's cooler temperature and it's humidified. And attached to it is our tasting room, which is wonderful. So you can come in and have a taste of wine, and then you can just relax in the space, as well as come in and see the barrels, and it's just a wonderful space to hang out.
Yeah, so folks can come in there, and are there tours? Are there ways for them to, find out exactly how all of this works? They can, get an up close look. Is that how all of this goes?
Yes. So we do offer tours. The cave is closed on Mondays, but every other day there are tours offered. And the best thing to do is to go to the Gervasi website and click on the cave link so that you can see what our current offerings for tours are. It's just that way, if there's any changes, you're up to date. I don't want to say a time or a number and then next week we change it.
Right.
That happens seasonally, as well as just as needed. So best thing is to go to the website. If you haven't signed up for our e-newsletter, do that as well. That way, if there's any special events coming up, you'll get notified right away. But yes, absolutely, there's tours available.
Yeah, the website has just a ton of great information. It's awesome. And if you need any of that information, that's a perfect place to go to. And we'll take our break for the news right now. But when we come back, I want to talk about the winemaking itself, because I find that very fascinating as well. So we will come back and we will continue our conversation with David Smith, who is the head winemaker. Our spotlight today is Gervasi Vineyard, and you are listening to News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Medicine Center pharmacies have been serving our local community for over 40 years. Our customers know they can count on our pharmacy staff, save money, and trust us. Stop by any of our Medicine Center pharmacy locations in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, and New Philadelphia, or visit us online at medshoprx.com.
Hey, it's JT inviting you to join me this Thursday at noon for the Fresh Cut Meat Sale at Save-A-Lot on Mahoning Road. I'll be right at home behind the counter, too, with deals you can't pass up. So stock up for the holidays this Thursday with me and Save-A-Lot on Mahoning Road at noon.
Happy Halloween and happy Sardiversary from Sarda. Check out our fun and spooky trick-or-treat bus. We'll pass out plenty of candy and wholesome snacks and give away free Sarda swag. Join us at the Stark County Fairgrounds on October 24th from 5 to 7 p.m. and the Massillon Recreation Center on October 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. See all the beautiful details at sardatreat.com. All part of Sarda 25. Happy Sardiversary.
The Cabernet Sauvignon won a double gold, the top prize at the Finger Lakes International Wine Competition, as well as best in class. The best news is you don't have to travel to Napa to try it, because it's made at Gervasi Vineyard, which has increasingly been acquiring silver, gold, and double gold medals in winemaking since 2010. Visit Gervasi's Bistro, Crush House, Still House, Piazza, or their wildly popular wine cave, and take in the double gold experience known as Gervasi Vineyard. Visit GervasiVineyard.com.
The holidays are coming, so give yourself the gift of clean, clear, great-tasting water from Verndale Water Experts. And take advantage of our 18-month, no-interest financing and keep more of your cash in your pocket. Call Verndale Water Experts today.
Verndale's Water Center.
WHBC AM 10, reliable as ever on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
From the News Talk 1480 WHBC newsroom in Akron, the 8 police officers who shot and killed Jalen Walker last summer have returned to active duty, a development that has brought strong reaction from some city officials and Walker's family. They had been on administrative duty since last October. Collectively, they fired more than 90 rounds, hitting Walker 45 times last June following a chase after they say Walker shot at police first. In April, a grand jury declined to file criminal charges against the officers. Akron police say an internal investigation is expected to be released by the end of next month. Walker's family attorney says the family is disappointed that they are continuing to be ignored by the city. Healthcare workers in the United States are facing more harassment at work than ever before. A new CDC survey found that 13.4% of healthcare workers say they've been harassed at work. That's nearly double the 6.4% rate from a similar survey in 2018. Harassment includes threats, bullying, verbal abuse, and other actions from both patients and also from coworkers. Actor Richard Roundtree has died after a short battle with pancreatic cancer. Known for his role in the film Shaft, the New Rochelle, New York native would be known also as the first Black action hero. Roundtree appeared in countless other films like Moving On, Georgia the Jungle, Amityville, A New Generation, and his television career was just as decorated with roles in Roots, Generations, Desperate Housewives, and more. Richard Roundtree was 81. In sports, the Arizona Diamondbacks are headed to the World Series to take on the Texas Rangers. They beat the Phillies in Game 7 last night, 4-2. For News Talk 1480 WHBC, I'm Pam Cook.
Your severe weather station, News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Here's your AccuWeather forecast. Mostly cloudy, a little bit of sun, though. It'll be mild, high 71. Rather cloudy and mild tonight, low 56. Some sun, warm day tomorrow, the high at 75. Increasing cloudiness for tomorrow evening, low 58. A breezy start Friday, otherwise warm. Times of clouds and sunshine, the high for Friday afternoon at 74. Plan with confidence. Check AccuWeather.com and download the app today. I'm Steve Williams for News Talk 1480 WHBC.
In business, everything your employees do impacts your brand, including what they wear. Cintas has high-performance workplace apparel for almost every job imaginable. From work shirts and pants, to polos and khakis, to Oxfords or T-shirts, these clothes move, breathe, and look great. Your team gets the styles they like, you convey the image you want. And Cintas service includes weekly laundry and delivery. To learn more, visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Herb Hackenberg began his coaching career as the head coach of basketball and baseball at Tiny North Industry High School in 1931. His teams at North Industry, Canton Township, and later Canton Layman enjoyed great success. Coach Hack I was a master teacher of the game's fundamentals, paying attention to the smallest details and demanding perfect execution. I know this because he was my coach and also my dad. At Hackenberg Financial Group, we believe that, as in sports, adherence to the fundamentals and their proper execution leads to retirement planning success. Call me to schedule a time where we can discuss these winning retirement planning fundamentals. I'm Larry Hackenberg, and my phone number is 330-489-9999. The Hackenberg Financial Group.
Jesse Kelly here. Do you feel protected? My personal protection plan is owning gold. The Oxford Gold Group helps you buy gold to have on hand or convert it into your 401k. If things get weird, I have gold on hand. I like that. You can buy coins or convert part of your 401k with the Oxford Gold Group. It's easy and safe. 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD. 833-995-GOLD.
In business, everything your employees do impacts your brand, including what they wear. Cintas has high-performance workplace apparel for almost every job imaginable. From work shirts and pants, to polos and khakis, to Oxfords or t-shirts, these clothes move, breathe, and look great. Your team gets the styles they like, you convey the image you want. And Cintas service includes weekly laundry and delivery. To learn more, visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready.
And get ready for the workday.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
And welcome back to Spotlight on News Talk 1480 WHBC. Pam Cook with you this morning, and we've been talking wine and the wonderful, really place that we are so fortunate to have right here in our community, and Gervasi Vineyard. We have with us this morning David Smith, who is the head winemaker. And we've been talking all about all the different wines and the things that Gervasi offers. But David, I want to talk about the winemaking itself, because, I mean, you have to have a team helping you. Is that correct? Or do you just do this like a little elf all by yourself?
No, it's way too much work to do all by myself. So yes, I absolutely have a team. I have an assistant winemaker. We have a cellar leader. And then we have a full-time cellar worker, as well as a vineyard caretaker, and he's full-time in the vineyard, which that managing a vineyard just there is a whole nother set of skills, and just something completely different to think about than the winemaking process itself. So it's wonderful to have a full-time vineyard caretaker to help me out with that. Makes it easier for me to focus on the winemaking portion.
Yeah, because this is scientific. This is not I Love Lucy and, you know, in the barrel and all that stuff. I mean, there's a scientific process for each and every one, correct?
That's right. That's right. Biochemistry works really well, fits right into that, because what really makes the wine is microbes, is yeast and bacteria. And being able to, just like yogurt and cheese, things like that. There's lots of fermented foods that we like. Sourdough is another good example. And so that's all done by the microbes. They're the ones that really make the wine. I just help guide it along. And yeah, so having an understanding of microbiology and biochemistry goes a long way in understanding the winemaking process.
All right. So, I mean, I don't know if it's possible, but can you kind of take us through the steps of how that works?
Oh, sure. Okay. So the first thing is, it all starts in the vineyard. So where the grapes are grown, the variety of grape. So is it Riesling, which is a white, or is it Cabernet Sauvignon, which is a red? That makes a huge difference, obviously. And then where it's grown. Is it grown in Ohio, or is it grown in California? And then when do you pick it? How is the vineyard managed? What's the soil like? What are the nutrients like? Do they water it often? Do they not? There's lots of things that go into growing the grapes that will affect the final quality of the wine. Then once we receive the grapes here at the winery, then it's a matter of destemming. So they come whole cluster, just like you would buy grapes at a grocery store. So the stems and berries are all there. So we don't want the stems in the wine. So we remove those with a machine. Then the grapes get crushed. And for white grapes, it will go directly to our press, and we'll press the juice out. And then we'll just ferment the juice, and all the skins and seeds stay out of it. With a red wine, we'll destem them, crush the berries, and then all the skins, seeds, pulp, juice, all of that goes into a tank, and we ferment it all together. And then after it's done fermenting, then we press the red grapes. So that's one of the biggest differences between red wines and white wines. Is white wines you press first before fermentation, and red wines you press after fermentation. The color, flavor, tannins in red wines, a lot of that, if the majority of that, comes from the skins. So if you didn't ferment it on the skins, you'd have a completely different wine. Yeah, and then after fermentation, then it goes into some processing, settling, clarification, maybe filtering. With white wines, we're usually bottling them in the spring. And with red wines, we're taking them to barrel and letting them barrel age, usually for about 12 months.
Yeah, you always hear people talking about, what year the wine is. And for some wines, I would imagine the aging is extremely important, correct? I mean, obviously you pay more for a wine that's been aged for a long time, for most wines, correct? Is that right?
That's right, yes.
Okay.
The price of the wine, there's a lot of factors that go into that. So again, it comes back to where the grapes are grown.
Okay.
And certain regions grow better quality grapes for certain wine styles, and so they cost more to buy those grapes. So sometimes the difference between like a $15 bottle of wine and a $40 bottle of wine is really just the vineyard that those grapes came from, and not necessarily much difference in the winemaking itself.
Okay.
But then in other cases, if you have wine sitting in barrel for 12 months or 24 months, well, those barrels cost money, so they're not cheap, and just the amount of time that it's sitting there, also it doesn't just sit there either. That's we're actively monitoring the wine as it ages in barrels. We're topping it up regularly. We're doing analysis on it. I'm doing sensory evaluations on it, making sure that it's going the right direction, and the quality assurance and quality control happens during that whole aging period. So the longer your aging period, the more time and labor you have spent taking care of that wine. And so when that wine is finally finished, on one hand, the economics kind of demand the price to be higher, but on the other side of that, the quality is also usually higher, and it's more layered, and it's more interesting, and better developed flavors and aromas, and so it's worth more.
So when you mention tannins, explain to the listeners what that means and how that affects the taste of a wine.
So tannins, if you imagine making a cup of tea, of black tea, and the longer you steep it, the more astringent it gets. That astringency comes from the tannins in the tea leaves. So it's the same type of thing in grapes. Grape skins have tannins, and actually the barrels also have a different kind of tannin as well. So a barrel-aged wine is not only going to have the grape skin tannins, but also the oak tannins as well. And as those age, they soften. So a freshly brewed cup of tea, especially if you've oversteeped it, it's not going to be that pleasant. It's going to really dry out your mouth, and your lips are going to stick to your gums. It's not going to be pleasant. But if you add a little bit of cream to that same cup, now the tannins are softened and everything's smoother, but it doesn't taste like drinking water. It has structure. It has some body. The tannins give the wine something for all the flavors to hold on to, so that while you're drinking it, you can, it's not just like drinking flavored water. It's different.
Okay.
Yeah, and as the wine ages, the tannins will soften. So similar to adding the cream to the tea.
Okay. Because, that, like, if when you go to buy a bottle of wine, some people just pick one up and whatever, they aren't, but there are ways you can judge a bottle of wine. I mean, if you're somebody that doesn't want something so strong or so sweet, or, there are a lot of ways to judge a bottle of wine, aren't there?
Oh, absolutely. Starting out at the what grape variety is it made out of? And then again, goes back to the vineyard, right? Some labels will have the French word for it is appellation. So that's the region that the grapes are grown in. So if you've got something from Napa, California, that Napa is the region that it's from, that's the appellation. And so on certain wines, you'll see Napa or Willamette Valley, Dry Creek, or Bordeaux, Burgundy, those kinds of things. So Not only can you look for a specific variety of grape, you can also look for a specific region, and you'll know that most of the grapes, no matter what the variety is grown in that region, are going to have some similar characteristics that you'll probably enjoy, even if you've never had that grape variety before.
Okay. And I know, I mean, I years and years and years ago started out as that very sweet wine person, and then slowly, gradually said, can't take that anymore. Too sweet.
Oh, sure.
You know, and now moved to a drier wine. Do you find that happens with people sometimes? They, you know, find that they, I don't know, their palate changes or they move to a different kind of wine?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of it comes down to just how often do they drink wine.
Yeah.
So someone who really drinks wine very occasionally usually tends to go for wines that I would call more approachable. And there's different ways for a wine to be more approachable. One of them is sweetness level. You have a sweeter wine, it's easier for anybody to pick it up and drink it. Because it's just soft and easy drinking. It's more approachable. But once people start to drink wine on a more regular basis, they, if you like sweet wines to begin with, you never really stop liking sweet wines. You just start liking more other drier wines also.
Okay. Yeah.
And so one of the things that I like to do when I'm talking to guests that are here at the property and what our wine tasting, our tasting room staff, one of the things that they do is they'll have a conversation with you. And that conversation lets us know what do you like, what don't you like, as far as food and other drinks that aren't wine, because all of that will give us clues as to what you may like. And then even if you're a sweet wine drinker, I will always give you something that I think you'll like that isn't sweet.
Okay.
And then that way you can just try it. And if you don't like it, it's okay. But more often than not, I'll be able to find something or several wines that are not sweet, that when they drink it, their eyes light up and they're like, oh, this is really good. I didn't think I would like it because it's dry, but this is great. And now and now they have a whole nother slew of wines that they can choose from and enjoy.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what happened to me. All right, we have to take our final break here. We will do that, and we'll be back with David Smith, the head winemaker. We're talking Gervasi Vineyard right here on News Talk 1480 WHBC on Spotlight on this beautiful Wednesday morning.
.1480 WHBC has always been there for you.
We here at 1480 WHBC continue that work.
Find more right now on WHBC.com.
Kick off the holiday season with a Motown Christmas. Featuring past and present members of the Temptations, the Miracles, and the Contours. A Motown Christmas, Saturday, November 18th at the Palace Theater, Canton, Ohio. Tickets at CantonPalaceTheater.org, Canton Palace Box Office, or call 330-454-8172. A Motown Christmas presented by BPE Productions.
I'm Pam Cook for St. Joseph Senior Living. I've been talking about all the wonderful things at St. Joe's in Louisville for years now. But what's new? There's so much, and it's all for you and your loved ones. Of course, they offer assisted living, long-term living nursing care, a beautiful memory care support unit, and independent living at the Alsatian. But they now offer a brand new wellness center for short-term rehab. This beautiful center offers private suites, state-of-the-art therapy equipment and space, delicious meals, and engaging activity. If you have an acute health episode or a decline in health, they'll work with you to map your recovery. It's worth a visit to see what they have to offer. Making these kinds of decisions for you or a loved one is never easy, but a visit to St. Joe's will show you exactly the help and care you can get. Take a look at their Facebook page. You can also visit them on Reno Drive in Louisville, right behind St. Thomas Aquinas High School. And the website, great place to start, stjosephseniorliving.org.
In the comfort of the intimate tasting room at the Wine Cave at Gervasi Vineyard, you can sample the latest of an impressive list of award-winning wines. The Wine Cave has become a hugely popular venue, and once you venture in, you'll discover why. as new Gervasi winemaker David Smith racks up more and more gold and double gold awards. With a vibe that says, "This is where I belong," the Wine Cave is designed with you in mind. With new wines and new awards, enjoy your next pour at the Wine Cave at Gervasi Vineyard.
The Canton Palace Theater, an absolute showplace built in 1926, a gift to the community by a dying entrepreneur, Harry Inc. At his drugstore, 222 East Tusk, he concocted a tonic for sore throats called Tonsilline and began selling it across the country in the 1890s. From the hundreds of thousands aided by his clever giraffe-shaped bottle of Tonsilline and the near century of entertainment at the Palace, Harry H. Inc. made a significant difference in people's lives.
This is Larry Hackenberg at the Hackenberg Financial Group. We have a much more modest goal. We want to make a significant difference in just one life, yours. Call me and we'll see if we can be that difference maker in your financial life at 330-489-9999. That's 330-489-9999. The Hackenberg Financial Group.
As a roofer, I'm always on the go, so I need to be able to get things done from anywhere. That's why I partner with Beacon. With the Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like Certainty Landmark Pro, right at my fingertips. It's like having my Beacon rep in my pocket 24/7. I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Now through November, purchase Certainty through Beacon Pro Plus and earn up to $750. Beacon, always building.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products, stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together. So visit Cintas.com
Oh, I'm ready!
and get ready for the workday.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
Hey, you're up next.
Ugh, my throat hurts so bad. There's no way I can sing tonight.
Here, try these.
Vicks VapoCool Drops.
Yeah, Vicks VapoCool Drops has maximum strength menthol with a rush of Vicks vapors.
Ooh, I can already feel it.
I told you. So, you ready?
I'm ready.
Vaporize sore throat pain fast with Vicks VapoCool Drops.
Klein tools are new at Lowe's, pros. Lowe's knows you want top brands and quality products, and Klein Tools delivers. Right now, get the Klein 3-piece ModBox mobile workstation for $319.94 and the Klein 5-piece cushion grip screwdriver set for just $34.97, both exclusively at Lowe's. Shop the largest selection of Klein tools, the highest quality tool brand at Lowe's. Because Lowe's knows tools, Lowe's knows pros.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
And welcome back to our final segment of Spotlight on this Wednesday. And we are talking again with David Smith, the head winemaker at Gervasi Vineyard. And we've covered so much. There's just such a wonderful atmosphere at Gervasi. If you haven't been there, you've got to go out and take a look around and go to the wine cave and do a wine tasting, take the tour. But, you know, there are a couple of things that I have here. I'm going to ask you, David, to kind of fill me in on. This is kind of like 20 questions for you, but not really 20. But not really 20. So you have to tell me what's your favorite Gervasi spot?
Favorite Gervasi spot? Boy, that's a really good one. That's a good question. Well, one of my favorite spots actually is out in our vineyard between the still house and the cave. We have it's about 2.5 acres of vineyard there. And it's our Aramella and some Marquette are in there. And it's kind of on a little bit of a hill too. So if you go towards the top end of the hill, you're in the vines, but you can also still kind of see some of the property, and it's just beautiful.
It's picturesque. This is where you need a camera for everything, right?
That's right.
All right. So what's your favorite Gervasi dish? That's hard.
That is hard. Well, so the winery is and the crush house are the same building. So I get food from the crush house for lunch quite often, and they have a rosemary roast beef sandwich that is pretty fabulous.
They have a fig. It's an appetizer, I think, with fig.
Fig crostata.
Yeah, that's one of my all-time favorites. Also, okay, I don't know if you can say it.
You know what? That one in particular is really good with our Piove Riesling.
Okay, I'm going to remember that the next time. Thank you.
Really good.
Okay, and can you pick a wine? Can you pick a favorite wine?
Oh boy. So it kind of depends on, the time of year and my mood and all that, right? But the first one that comes to mind is Fioretto, which is a Sauvignon Blanc. And I love Sauvignon Blanc. So that's right up there at the top. Malbec so that's on the white side. On the red side, Malbec is definitely one of my go-tos. We call it Serenata.
Yeah, that's it. That's mine.
Yeah.
Ding, ding.
So I love Malbec as well. So that's one of my favorites for sure.
That's the bottles I carried in my arms to my brother's house a couple of weekends ago, was the Malbec. Absolutely. Well, I thank you so much for coming on today and sharing with us all of this. I know it got a lot of folks wanting to head to Gervasi and pick some of this up, and we appreciate you showing us the cave, and thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. I'm glad I could take the time, and I appreciate the invitation.
All right. Thanks, David. Have a good day.
You too. Take care.
Tune in each Saturday at 8 a.m. for the Money Matters Radio